Hi guys, it's me, Ethan. Are you ready for the surprise book review? It's Captain Underpants and the Big Bad Battle of the Bionic Booger Boy, Part 1. Night of the Nasty Nostril Nuggets. Let's get started. Hi everybody, and welcome to another one of our Mr. Disaster's Adventures. Before we get started, check out the comic book to get the full scoop on our stories. Once upon a time, there were two cool kids named George and Al. We demand, me too. They had a meal principal named Mr. Crook. Hey Bob, blah blah blah. One time Mr. Crook punished George and Al. You have to obey my orders. So they got a 3 hypno-ring and hypnotized him. No way, you must have passed. Okay. They made him think he was a superhero. You are now Captain. Yes, it was supposed to be a joke. But it got carried too far. I'm gonna fight crime now. Way too far. Hey, come back here, Bob. Then one day, he got attacked by a dandelion. Help! Don't you hate when that happens? So George stole some superpower trees from a UFO ouchie and gave it to him. Down the hatch, glug. Suddenly, he got superpowers. Hey, I can fly now. I win. A great bummer. Nowadays, whenever Mr. Crook hears anybody snap their fingers, he turns into you know who. Tra-la-la. Uh-oh, here we go, not again. And the only way you can stop him is if you pour water on his head. Then he turns back into Mr. Crook. Hey, what's the big idea, bubs? So whatever you do, don't snap your fingers around Mr. Crook, okay? Chapter 1, George in here. This is George here. How did George is the kid on the left of the laptop. He was the one that went with the teacher and bad haircut. Remember that now. Please wash your hands after using the toilet. George and Al's grades in school are much like whales in the ocean. They rarely rose above sea level. Melvin Steely, however, he's the kid down there with the bow tie and the glasses. And always got straight A's. Because Melvin was so academically gifted, people just assumed he was a lot smarter than George Al, but that wasn't true. You see, George and Al were every bit as smart as stray A students, but in a different way, in the way they couldn't be answered by the quizzes or worksheets. Please wash your hands in the toilet. Maybe George Hill couldn't spell very well or remember their multiplication tables. Perhaps their grammar weren't no good neither. But when it came to saying the entire word of the nasty forces of unrelenting evil, there was nobody better than George Hill Hutchins. It's a good thing that George Hill is smart enough to get themselves out of trouble, because this means was always getting them in trouble. In fact, one time it got them into a really snide situation. But before I can tell you that story, I can tell you this story. Chapter 2, Squishy's Birthday. It was demonstration speech day in Miss Riddle's 4th grade English class. Every student had to give an oral or demonstrating how to do something. First up were Tim Bronski and Steve Lupiner, who demonstrated how to give a speech they had prepared. They got a D. Hey, they're the nerds. Next up were Jessica Gordon and Stephanie Wyckoff, who demonstrated how to cook a frozen lasagna in a pop-up toaster. After the lasagna left, it was George and Harold's turn. Harold carefully tacked some charts and graphs onto the wall while George brought out a large garbage can with toilet seat paper with a toilet seat taped on the top. "Ladies and gentlemen," said George, "today Harold and I are going to demonstrate how to do a squishy. First, you need 2 packs of ketchup and a toilet seat. Next, you and Harold, next to Harold as he pointed to their display tray, you must fold the ketchup packs in half and carefully place them under the toilet seat. Make sure that the packs are under those front 2 bumpy things on the bottom of the seat." "Now, once the ketchup packs are in place," said Harold, "all you have to do is wait for somebody to sit down on the toilet seat." "Do we have any volunteers? Come on," said George. "Who wants to stay squishy?" Although nobody in class wanted to sit on the toilet, everybody wanted to see what happened if somebody actually did. So George grabbed one side, Harold on the toilet seat, and Harold grabbed the other, and together they pushed out. Splat, splat, splat. Everyone in class was thrilled, except for 2 kids sitting directly in the toilet seat, who were somewhat less than thrilled. "Hooray for Squishy," said Georgia. Now, normally Georgia Hill's teacher was very angry about this particular demonstration speech. She would have yelled on about imitable behavior and how it's not nice to spray ketchup into people's underwear. But Miss Riddle had changed quite a bit since the last book, and now she was all about fun. "Come on, kids, let's all run to the cafeteria and grab some ketchup packs. Squishies for everyone. Hooray!" cried the children as they did it from their seats and dashed toward the classroom door. "Who's gonna come?" "Not so fast!" shouted Melanie, who stood blocking the door with his arms spread defiantly. "You guys are so immature." Chapter 3: The Combined 20,000. Melvin Sneed, the school brainiac, was not about to let anybody leave the classroom until he had given his demonstration speech. "We still have 15 minutes left before lunch," said Melvin, "and that's just enough time for me to demonstrate my new invention, the Combined 20,000. Aw, man!" whined Melvin's classmates. He's also famous for being the school tattletale. The children all slumped back into their seats while Melvin pushed a plastic rolling cart to the front of the classroom. On top of the cart were a hamster, a small robot which Melvin had built himself, and a strange-looking contraction shaped like an ice cone. "Today," said Melvin, "I will demonstrate how to turn an ordinary hamster into your very own bionic cyber slave." Melvin placed his pet hamster Sue at one end of the cart, and his tiny homemade robot at the other end. "I shall now combine this ordinary hamster with this tiny robot using the Combined 20,000. Melvin picked up the Combined 20,000 and turned it on. A high-pitched tone pierced the glass in the air, getting higher and higher in frequency as the machine charged to full power. Melvin typed some last-minute calculations into the keyboard on the side of the Combined 20,000 as its laser extractor warmed up. Suddenly 2 streaks of red glowing light flashed onto Sue and the tiny robot. The Combined 20,000 began assimilating information on the 2 elements it was about to combine. "Don't worry, kids," said Melvin. "This procedure is totally painless. Sue won't feel a thing. Finally, you can verify his voice. Start the countdown. Combine two elements in 5 seconds. Combine two elements in 4 seconds. Combine two elements in 3 seconds. Combine two elements in 2 seconds. Combine two elements in 1 second. Blast! A burst of brilliant white light shot out of the combined 20,000 and formed a ball of energy between Sue and the tiny robot. The hamster and the robot began to slide closer and closer together until they disappeared into the energy ball. The small bird, matches, and pickle relish filled the air as hot blasts of electric wind knocked books off the shelves and sent papers flying. Suddenly there was a blinding flash of light, a quick puff of smoke, and it was all over. Melvin pulled off his goggles, no longer wearing hamster and a robot sitting on the cover. Now the hamster and the robot were one. Combined as they sailing their level, the world's first self-contained warm-blooded but fuzzy bionic excitement. Eureka! Shouted Melvin. He worked to have created cybernetic life form. The children looked on as Melvin waved a metal detector over the hamster and the reading went on the train. One of the children raised his hand with a question. Yes, said Melvin enthusiastically. Can we go to the lunchroom and get our ketchup bags now? But no, screamed Melvin. Will you forget about squishies for just 1 minute? I just created the world's first cybernetic hamster, and nobody is leaving this room until I've demonstrated his undying obedience. Chapter 4, Bad Sue. Sue didn't even seem to know that he had just undergone a groundbreaking transformation. He didn't act any different. He just wandered across the top of the plastic rolling car, sniffing everything around him, only stopping whiskers. But poor Sue was in for a big surprise. Sue, said Melvin, I'm your master, and you will obey my every command. I want you to demonstrate your new powers to this class. Do a super bionic jump across the room. Sue did not respond. Sue, said Melvin sternly. Crush that plastic roller car in your bare paws. Sue did not have that. Sue, Melvin shouted. Go outside, pick up a car, and throw it across the parking lot. Sue did not respond. Finally, Melvin reached into a book bag and took out a red ping pong pad he had designed especially for this occasion. Sue, he said angrily, do as I say or you're going to get a good spanking. This time, Sue did respond. When he saw the ping pong pal, he became very frightened, and his little hamster instincts took over. Sue jumped into the air, grabbed the ping pong pal in his right paw, and then yanked Melvin onto the plastic rolling car with his left paw. And the children finally stopped thinking about ketchup packs and toys for a moment and settled in to watch the show. Chapter 5, The Incredibly Rapid Violence Chapter. Part 1, A Flip Around. 1. The following chapter contains graphic depictions of a mean little boy getting spanked by a bionic hamster. While this event is presented for humorous effect, the producers of this book acknowledge that hamster attacks are no laughing matter. If you or someone you love has been the victim of a hamster attack, we strongly urge you to get help by seeking out a local support group or by visiting www.hamstersattack.com. The problem with graphic violence is that it's hardly ever fun. Well, all that changed since the invention of Flip-A-Rama. Check it out! Thanks for the memories. Chapter 6, The Aftermath. Although Sue didn't really hadn't really spanked Melvin very hard. Melvin wailed and blubbered and carried on away. "You're a bad hamster!" Melvin cried. "I don't want to see you again as long as I live." Melvin ran out the classroom, shouting. The rest of the class, including Miss Rebel, followed him out, laughing and cheering. "Squishies, squishies, squishies!" But George Hanson ran to confront the forgotten hamster. "Don't feel bad, Sue," said George. "Melvin is a real me." "Yeah," said Hale. "Do you want to come home with us? He can live up in our tree house." Sue jumped into Harold's arms and gave him a hug. Then he jumped into George's arm and hugged him too. "I think we've just adopted a bionic hamster." So George and Harold tucked their new pal onto his short packet, and the three friends went off to lunch. Chapter 7, Mr. Crook. About that very same time, the school principal, Mr. Crook, came marching into the office in a particularly foul mood. He stopped beside Miss Ambrose, desk, humping. "Where's my coffee?" he shouted. "Go get it yourself, Toby," Miss Ambrose shouted back. "I don't need a lip, woman," Mr. Crook growled. "I just want my coffee, and I want it now." "Well, go get me a cup too while you're at it," Miss Ambrose growled back. "Ah!" screamed Mr. Crook in frustration as he grabbed the newspaper and head for the falsity restroom door, smiling, trying very hard not to laugh. What are you looking at? Mr. Crook snarled as he pushed his way past the circle and slammed the restroom door behind him. Inside the restroom, you could hear the faint sound of a belt buckling, jingling, of a zipper unzipping, some clothes rustling until finally, splash, splash. "What the?" screamed Mr. Crook from inside the restroom. "I'm ketchup in my underwear!" In a few moments, the door of the falsity room opened, flew on. "I'm going to get George and Hale for this!" screamed Mr. Crook. "They didn't do it," laughed Miss Will. "I did. It's called Squishy. It's the latest fad." "Yeah, right. Very funny," said Mr. Crook. "Now, where are those two kids? I just know they're responsible." As Mr. Crook headed for the cafeteria, he noticed that he wasn't the only person to fall for the victim of the dreaded squishies. All through the hallway, angry first, second, third, fifth, and sixth graders were complaining about the underwear, Mr. Crook, complaining about ketchup stains on their pants, socks, legs, and underwear. Mr. Crook stormed into the cafeteria and headed for the fourth graders' table. "George and Harold," shouted Mr. Crook. "George and Harold," shouted Mr. Crook. "I've got ketchup in my underwear because of you two, and so do half of the kids in the school." "We didn't do it," said Harold. "Yeah, it was a few other fourth graders," said George. "George and Harold, we didn't do it," said Harold. "Yeah," said a few other fourth graders. "George and Harold are innocent." "George and Harold are innocent." "Oh, no, they're not," said a voice from the other end of the table. It was Melvin's niece. Besides from being the school brainiac, Melvin was also famous for being the school tattletale. George and Harold had taught everybody a trick today, where you pick up ketchup packs under the toilet, where you put ketchup packs on the toilet seat and makes it spray on people's legs. Melvin reported proudly. "Thank you, Melvin," said Mr. Crook. He turned to George and Harold and pointed at the cafeteria door. "Mr. Beard, Mr. Hutchins, out!" Chapter 8. The comic is mightier than a spitball. George and Harold were sent straight to the detention room. "Man," said Harold, "Mom is such a tattletale. Somebody ought to teach him a lesson. And we're just the guys to do it." So George and Harold created an all-new comic book featuring everybody's favorite tattletale, me, Mel, and Sneak. When they were done, the two boys sneaked out of the detention room to run copies of their latest work and sell them in the hall. The new comic book was a great success. Everybody loved it. Well, everybody but Melvin. I should say, as Melvin walked to his last class of the day, he noticed that small groups of students in the hallway were reading comics together, giggling. Normally, this was enough to make Melvin run straight to the principal's office and tell everyone for unsupervised reading, which was strictly forbidden. But today, Melvin noticed something strange. The comic reading students were pointing and laughing at him. He's like, what's so funny? What, said Melvin. What's wrong? Why are you guys laughing at? Melvin looked around the hallway desolately. Everybody was laughing. Everybody was pointing, and it was driving Melvin crazy. He marched over to a group of second graders, grabbed the comic book out of their hands, and looked at the cover. Melvin was furious. You guys are so immature, shrieked Melvin. He quickly darted off to read the comic in peace, but everywhere he ran, he came across more pointing, more laughing. Finally, Melvin thought the one place he could read the comic in private. He went to the boys' bathroom, and locked himself in one of the stalls and sat down to read. Splat, splat, as Melvin sat reading, his legs dripping with ketchup, he became angrier and angrier. I'm gonna get Georgia out for that, Melvin vowed. Check tonight, Captain Underpants, and the very terrifying tale of the town 20,000. Duh. Once upon a time, this kid named Melvin, who was a talented. I'm telling. Everywhere he went, he caused grief and misery. I'm telling, until one day, hey cops, that guy just robbed a bank. Thanks, kid. You're under arrest. Hey kid, you solved the crime of the century. And so, Melvin had become so popular that he decided to run for mayor. I'm telling, he won a landslide victory. Congratulations, you're the youngest mayor ever. Yes, and I'm going to make some big changes. Soon, Mayor Melvin made a bunch of dumb new laws. And people were getting arrested left and right. You're under arrest, but I didn't do anything. Busted. And they all got sent to jail. Haha. It's Super Daddy Baby and Diaper Dog. Remember that book? Certainly. Mayor Melvin, all the jails are full. I will build a big robot jail and catch those lawbreakers myself. So I brought the town charge it does and clang. Soon Mayor Melvin was off catching lawbreakers. That'll teach you. Then Melvin headed for the school. Help! The town charge 2000 just ran across the field and squashed the gym teacher. Oh no, we just played that grass. This looks like a job for Captain Underpants. Crash. What's up, bub? Look out! Oh, you're going to jail for busting the roof. That'll teach you. You're going to jail for busting the roof. But Captain Underpants is faster than speed, is more powerful than busting. He said more powerful than busting. Crash. And he will delete all plans about getting awakened. Captain Underpants wanted to fight for road, but he didn't want to hurt the people inside. Then he got an idea. Mr. Prune's Juice Factory. Crash. Hey. What the? We're free, but soon they were not. But there was nobody left inside. The Telltale 2000 except for Mel. I'm telling pounds. So hooray for Captain. You guys are so immature. Then everybody got sent. Everybody got sent free. Try rabbit, mirror. Oh, good. Yippee, yay, we're free and stuff. The end. Chapter 10. Mad Mr. Melvin. Melvin was furious. He ripped the comic in half and tossed it over to his shoulder. Then he washed his hands in the toilet and started at the restroom. I'm gonna get Georgia out for that, said Melvin. I'm gonna teach them a lesson today they'll never forget. After school, Melvin grabbed his cabana trunks and headed home. Melvin's mother and father were both busy working on a top-secret government experiment. when Melvin walked into the front door. "Hello, son," said Melvin's father. How's your day at school?" "Terrible," said Melvin. "Nobody in class has significant respect for my beautiful mind. Those dull-witted, lame, brain gum-chewing idiots are more impressed with convicts than they are with the wonders of science. But I shall teach them. Oh. Ha 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 ha. That's nice, said Melvin's mom. I see. Melvin marched up to his room and began rebuilding a brand new superpowered robot. But when he opened his bedroom door, he saw the family's fat cat, Danderella, sleeping quietly on his bed. "Hey!" Melvin screamed. "What are you doing in my room? You stupid cat! You know I'm allergic to you. Now get out achoo! Stay out!" After a few hours, Melvin had built the newest and most powerful robot ever, which had 3 sets of interchangeable laser eyeballs, Marco hydraulic jumpatronic eyeballs, legs, super smoggy blade, atomo arms, and extendable octocloud rib cage, and it was powered by 3 separate twin turbos, 9000 SP5 Kung Fu titanium lithium Ollie processors, which were all built into a rich, yellow, indestructible flexible Gromac endoskeleton that had the power to punch through the cinder blocks, crushing the steel in its thighs like a grip, and plow mercilessly through the poorly written Rhino's sentence. It could also slice bagels. That'll do the trick," said Melvin, wiping his nose on the tissue. "Now all I have to do is, achoo! Combine my body with this bionic robot, and I shall be the school. And I shall combine my body with this bionic robot, and I shall be the most powerful boy who, achoo, ever lived." Chapter 11: Melvin's Fantasy. As Melvin set up the Cabana 2000 and made his proper adjustments, he imagined what his life would be like as the world's first bionic boy. He imagined himself walking to school the next day, his arms swinging confidently, and as he crashed through the classroom. The girls would swoon as Melvin taught surprised about the amazing worlds of science. Miss Riddle would probably let Melvin sit at her desk from now on because Melvin's new buns of steel would be too massive to fit into the ordinary children's chair. Maybe Mr. Crut would invite the governor to visit the school so he could show his smartest and most popular student. If so, the governor would probably declare a new holiday, National Melvin's Neatly Day. A day when kids all over the world would get extra homework and pop quizzes to honor the glorious name of Melvin. But the best part of all would be George and Harold's reaction. They would be so terrified of Melvin's incredible size and strength, they would drop to their knees and beg for mercy. And Melvin would spare them, only they would agree to be his slaves for all eternity. They'd have to carry his book, sharpen his pencils, and be his personal footstools. During each class, life is gonna true, said Melvin. Chapter 12: The Night of the Nasty Nostril Nuggets. Melvin turned on the Cabana 20,000 and a high-pitched tone pierced the air, getting higher and higher in frequency as the machine changed to full power. Oops, said Melvin as he quickly turned the dramatic effects setting to off so he wouldn't disturb his parents. Suddenly, the machine combined continued to charge as Melvin entered calculations to account for his clothes and his glasses. When the laser extractor had finally warmed up, Melvin stepped around the Combine 20,000, staying perfectly still beside his new robot. Suddenly, the two streaks of red glowing light flashed onto Melvin and the robot as the Combine 20,000 began assimilating information on the two elements as it was about to combine. Finally, a computerized voice started the countdown. Combining two elements in 5 seconds, Melvin stood perfectly still. Combining two elements in 4 seconds, Melvin's nails began to twitch. Combining two elements in 3 seconds, suddenly Melvin felt an uncontrollable urge. He cupped his hands over his mouth and nose as his eyes squeezed close involuntarily. Combining two elements in 2 seconds. Achoo! Melvin looked down into his hands, which were now glistering with mucus and crispy chunks of semi-dried boogers. Instantly, the Combine 20,000 began to recalculate the elements in its lasers. Set to combine 3 elements in 1 second. Three elements? Melvin screamed in horror. What's the third element? Quickly, Melvin's eyes darted around the room, searching for any new element that might have accidentally made its way into the sights of the laser extractor. What's the third element? He screamed again. Then he looked down into his crusty, dripping, falcon-filled hands. Uh-oh, said Melvin as a blistering, blinding burst of white light enveloped him. Blast! Chapter 13, the next day, Melvin didn't show up for school on time. Nobody really seemed to notice, though, because all the children were excited about show and tell. Almost everyone had brought in a really, really lame stuff like their books or awards. But George had something that was totally cool. Everybody remembers Susan from yesterday, right? Said George. Well, we took him home to live in our treehouse, and we taught him the greatest tricks they have. The two boys carried Sue over to the classroom window and opened it up. Harold pulled a large watermelon out of his book bag and showed it to Sue. Okay, Sue, said George. Show everybody your new trick. In one swift motion, Sue placed his mouth over the watermelon and shoved the entire thing into his cheek. The fourth graders were stunned. No, said Harold. That's not the trick. That's not the trick. That's not the trick. The trick is what happens next. Sue looked out the window and eyed a dead tree at the far end of the empty playground. Sue began to chew up the watermelon and perk out his tiny hands and then spit. The watermelon seeds fired out of Sue's mouth, hitting their target with expert precision. In no time at all, the dead tree at the end of the playground was reduced to the pile of twigs and sawdust. The class cheered and gave Georgia help had their amazing little bionic buddy. Georgia Hill didn't think that anybody would beat their show and tell display, but they were wrong because at that very moment, Melvin was tripping down hurrying toward the classroom door. Melvin hadn't brought anything for show and tell. Melvin was the show and tell. Chapter 14, the unnecessarily disgusting chapter. Notice, the following chapter is extremely gross. To avoid the projectile vomiting or gastrointestinal unpleasant tries, please refrain from eating at or at least 1 hour before reading the show. You won't want to eat after reading the show. As all the fourth graders were chewing and pacing as the classroom door slowly opened, a greenish, glistering behemoth entered the room, filling the air with the sounds of grinding metal gears in the burnt and wet, gooey, bursting bubbles. Some of the girls screamed. Some of the boys did too. You guys are so immature, said the horrible beast. And all The children recognized the terrifying creature that stood before them. Melvin, they cried. Yes, it's me, gurgled the wet, jiggling monster angrily. His eyes and nose were dripping with the warm, greenish costume like Negus. His robotic arms were caked with massive clouds of crispy, shimmering snow. As he turned to close the classroom door behind him, part of his hand came off of the doorknob. It oozed slowly down the door, leaving behind a chunky trail of moist extraction. Melvin squished and soft as he jiggled over to his chest. Each gooey footsteps coated the floor with a foaming trail of slime, and everything he touched became very wet and encrusted with warm, bubbly, syrupy gum. But when Melvin sat down, generous helpings of greenish pudding like goo slowly dribbled down the chair and collecting into creamy, gelatinous piles beneath him. The piles themselves were slightly transparent and speckled with thick, shimmering nose and hairs and dark red chunks of coagulated blood, which already, yelled George in there. Enough of the descriptions. You're making us smell sick. Thank you, George, said Joel. Now, Melvin, why don't you tell us all what happened to you? Well, said Melvin, I tried to combine myself with a bionic robot last night, but I accidentally sneezed, and at the last second, so you got combined for robot and booger, as George. Yeah, said Melvin, but don't worry, I'm building a separation 1000, which will reverse the effects and turn me back into a boy again. It'll just take 6 months to finish. 6 months, Sal? Hey, Sal, a separation is a highly complex procedure. It's simple. It's not like building a robot. It takes time. You should try taking the batteries out of the combiner thingy and putting them in backwards, suggests George. That might reverse the effects. Melon rollers thick blood across their covering infrared eyeballs. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, he gurgled. Alright, guys, we're gonna do a part 2. See you tomorrow for part 2. Bye.